5 photographers and the assignment of a lifetime. A journey into the unknown to the islands around Africa. Over the islands of Africa. Mauritius. A man checks the wind. He wants to fly.
For me, flying is the fulfillment of the dream we all have when we're asleep. The dream of being able to fly one day.
His name is Renault Fandir. He's a photographer. Renault travels the world in a quest to discover people and landscapes from the air. Now he's working on a photo book about the islands around Africa. From his powered paraglider, he can take pictures that are inconceivable from the ground.
When I fly, this is how I feel. It's like a passion. It's so smooth. You glide. It's a different dimension.
Mark Twain once said, God created Mauritius first, and then made a copy, which he called heaven. 10 million years ago, volcanoes rose out of the sea to create the sweetest pearl in the Indian Ocean. For some, Mauritius is the last remnant of the legendary island of Lemuria, the sunken land bridge between Africa and India. Its discoverers, seafaring Arabs, dubbed it Dina Arobi, the abandoned isle. Later, the Dutch, Portuguese, the French, and the English battled to possess it. A magical attraction brings Renault to the island again and again. As a photographer, he has traveled the world, but nowhere does he find such a diverse array of motifs as in Mauritius.
I want to show the essence of this island in just a few pictures, through an encounter with its inhabitants and their culture. And I want to show the hidden beauty that you don't necessarily see the first time you visit this little paradise.
Further on is an old sugarcane factory with rectangular chimneys. Looks good.
Renault is often accompanied by François Lagarde, an assistant, good friend, and technical support. Oftentimes, he helps Renault find motifs from the ground. Sugar, not tourism, is the island's chief economic engine. The colonial rulers destroyed the rainforest and cultivated sugarcane. Today, it covers more than half the island.
I saw something interesting. Women working in a field. Very graphic. From where you are, it's the second left, at 9 o'clock.
I cross the big sugarcane field and take the first left.
Exactly. Do you see me now?
Yes, I see you. You're directly above me, just a bit ahead. I'll follow you. I'll be with the women in just a sec.
Je suis avec mon ami photographe là.
I am here with my friend and we are taking pictures of Mauritius.
De l'île de la Maurice.
Would it perhaps be possible to get you to pose for a beautiful picture?
Pour qu'il fasse une belle photo. Je vais vous montrer où on peut aller.
I'll show you where to stand.
Vous pouvez venir, mesdames? Ah. Renault, tu veux qu'elle se place
Renault, where do
comment?
you want them?
It would be great if they could stand in a circle.
Ça va aller un petit peu plus ici là.
Yes, that will work. A bit higher is better.
Voilà. Vous, sur le dessus c'est mieux là.
That way you won't
Ça,
hurt
vous
the
élimez
plants.
pas les plantes. Hein.
And
Vous
you,
pouvez
right
peut-être
over
venir
here.
un petit peu plus ici. D'accord? Ça, c'est bien. Hop là. Voilà, je t'aide.
I'll help you.
C'est bon, impeccable. Bravo. Bon,
Ah, merci. C'était vraiment très
That was excellent, thank you.
Merci. Vous étiez magnifique.
You were fantastic.
Vous étiez magnifique. Magnifique. Ah, pour moi, c'était difficile. Hein.
It was a bit difficult due to the wind. It was pretty bumpy.
Dans tous les sens. Ah, ben, merci
Thank you again.
Merci.
Et qu'est-ce que vous faites
What are you doing exactly? What are you
Vous
planting?
plantez quoi comme espèce?
Some of these.
c'est de la canne à sucre.
Is that sugar cane?
Vous plantez de la canne à sucre?
No,
Vous plantez des
no.
saucisses?
Ah, so you're planting sausages.
Des concombres.
Cucumbers.
Belgarel.
The field belongs to the factory. We lease the land and plant vegetables. The company profits from us because we pay rent. But we also earn something. We grow vegetables and bring them to Port Louis. That's our profit.
An ingenious business idea that benefits everyone: the women, the sugarcane factory, and even the soil, which can recover from monoculture. And Renault has the first piece in his portrait of Mauritius. It will take some time before the collection is complete. Hindus whose ancestors came across the sea from India by the 10,000s for work dominate the multicultural mix of peoples that make up Mauritian society. They define the island's politics. Their temples are ubiquitous. Mauritius attracts people from all over the world. In the summer months, it's a mecca for windsurfers who come to take advantage of the reliable winds. Nico Cooks, a Mauritian of German descent, is one of the pioneers of kite surfing. One of his victories was a 1,000-kilometer race from Brisbane to Sydney. Renault is hoping to get some interesting aerial shots of Nico Cooks surfing. They prepare for the shoot in his workshop. They mount a special camera on Nico's surfboard that takes pictures continuously, both above and underwater.
The Kite is a powerful engine. You can do a lot of things with it. It's flight in 3 dimensions. You have incredible freedom on the water. You have a wing in the air. You have 360-degree vision. You float. You're weightless. In spite of your 90 kilos, you fly.
It's precisely this feeling that Renault wants to capture in photographs. Outside, the wind is picked up. That's good for Nico, who needs the wind for his jumps, but not so good for Renault, who's having difficulty taking off due to the wind. They want to go for it anyway.
Le seul truc qu'il faut que je fasse, c'est de faire vraiment attention.
I just have to be careful when you jump or turn around. I don't want to get in your way.
No problem. If you want, I can whistle when I'm going to jump.
I wouldn't hear you because of the motor, but I'll see when you're preparing the kite.
Ça va marcher.
It will work. Normally it would be just fine. I just have to wait a bit until the wind dies down.
Je vais attendre la calmie. Et après,
And then,
photo with the sun, no sun.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
Alors c'était très sportif.
that was quite a workout. The wind made it very bumpy.
Ça bouge quand même un petit peu.
There are also a lot of other
donc
kites.
il faut
You
faire
have to watch
attention aux
out.
différentes lignes.
It's exhilarating, but also satisfying when you finally get the shot.
Et satisfaisant quand on a l'image.
Renault is not always the type of photographer who plans his shots in terms of motif, light, and composition. He's happy to let chance be his guide.
T'as pas peur?
Aren't you afraid?
Tu es déjà tombé?
Haven't you ever fallen?
Jamais?
Never?
Et moi si je monte, je
Do
tombe?
you think I would fall if I climbed up there?
Ah non, je veux pas tomber.
I don't want to
moi.
fall.
Wow! Tu veux regarder?
Want to see?
Regarde. Tu as vu?
Look.
Alors attention. Je vais faire... Regarde. Je suis devenu photographe.
That's exactly why I became a photographer. It's these unique moments, the unexpected. I always wanted to photograph beautiful things.
Photographier en fait le beau. J'aime le beau et en
I
voyageant,
love beautiful
je cherchais
things,
ces
and that's what I look for
Et
in
là,
my
on
travels.
rencontre en fait un enfant. Il
You
a
meet a
envie de
kid who
jouer,
wants to
et d'un
play.
seul coup, je lui donne
So I
l'appareil
give him
photo,
the
il
camera,
devient le
and
photographe.
he becomes the
Et moi,
photographer,
l'enfant.
and I
Et c'est
become
ça
the
que je
kid.
recherchais,
That's what I look
plus
for
à
on my
travers le
trips.
voyage, c'était
The
ce
unexpected.
côté inattendu. Allez, tu prends la photo? Vas-y, Happy. Ouais!
The next morning, Renault is keen to use the morning light, but the technology won't play along.
These problems with the electronics are annoying. In 5 minutes it'll be too late.
Non, ça démarre 2 fois.
2 times it starts and the third time it doesn't.
C'est un peu comme l'informatique.
It's like with computers.
Il y a toujours quelque chose qui plante.
The battery doesn't recognize the paramotor. The computer doesn't recognize the disk.
La disquette n'est pas reconnue par l'ordinateur.
I can't reach it. Do you have more spark plugs?
No. Did it get wet?
It was drenched in oil. Did you switch off the power?
Yes. The humidity in coastal areas and the temperature changes cause a lot of problems with the electronics. The storm we had recently gummed things up a bit. The light is changing and we can't take off. No picture.
As if that weren't enough, now the battery dies. Port Louis is a provincial capital on the May. Investors from all over the world are creating an offshore banking and IT hub, a cyber island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The future looks bright. Education standards are high. Per capita income is among the highest in Africa. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Buddhists live together in harmony. Renault and Francois have come to Port Louis to get a replacement battery for the paramotor, and of course, to find shots that express the multicultural charm of the island. Finding a battery is turning out to be a bit more difficult than expected. Even in Chinatown, the merchants district, they have no luck. They're told to go to Paul's electronics shop, the oldest shop in Port Louis.
Merci.
This must be it. Hello?
Are you Monsieur Paul?
Yes.
We were told to come here. We're looking for a battery like this one. Do you have this model?
I don't think so. But I have a similar one. One moment.
First-generation mixers, irons, tube radios, cassette recorders. Paul's shop has been around for 40 years. The 84-year-old is a Mauritian institution, and he can fix anything.
It's not exactly the same, but almost.
It has roughly the same strength, so it should work.
Is it more robust than this one?
Yes, more robust.
So it's very robust.
Is there a guarantee?
Guarantee? For now.
Excellent. Can I take a picture of you?
Of course.
This is an extraordinary place. Thank you very much.
And Paul's battery works like a charm. Back to work. Originally, Renault wanted to be a jet pilot, but then he decided he would rather study music at the Sorbonne. Then he became a ski instructor, then a model, and finally a photographer's assistant, before becoming a photographer himself. Each new flight is a journey into the unknown.
Before I take off, I think about the light and the places I can get to and make a game plan. But once you get up in the air, 80% of what happens is unplanned.
Test radio, ça va, tu m'entends?
Oui, c'est bon, je te reçois.
Ça balance pas trop?
Renault is flying to the Le Morne Peninsula in the south of Mauritius. He's optimistic about discovering the essential Mauritius here, where tourism has yet to take root. The people still live from fishing. In one of the pirogues, he discovers a woman fishing.
Le gros avantage du paramoteur, c'est qu'on peut communiquer.
The big advantage of paramotors is that you can communicate with people while you're in the air. You fly low and slowly, and you have this immediate contact. The people think, who is this guy flying around up there?
Renault has landed so he can meet the old fisherwoman from the pirogue.
Yes, that was me.
Sida is the oldest fisherwoman in Mauritius, perhaps the world. She has 7 children and 17 grandchildren. Her husband died long ago. She's 83 years old, but she still goes out to sea every day.
How did you become a fisherwoman?
My husband and I lived alone in our house. When he went out to sea, I missed him terribly. So I told him, I'm not staying home alone. I'm coming with you. That's how it started. I became a fisherwoman just as he was a fisherman. We couldn't be apart. Whenever we went somewhere, we always went together.
That's wonderful.
Sida's second love is the sea. Her whole life, it has provided her with big fish. The biggest one weighed 80 kilos. But it also took one of her sons who drowned while diving for mussels. Sida has donned traditional garb for a Hindu ritual this afternoon. Her ancestors, too, came across the Indian Ocean. The sea is their connection to the old country and the holy river, the Ganges, which flows into the Indian Ocean.
Do you see the ocean as an enemy or a friend?
No. For us, it is a mother. We honor it. All Hindus revere it like a mother. When we go into the sea, we watch it. We call it mother. We are like precious pearls that she watches over.
Om ayanta idma atma jata vidastin dhyaswabadaswa chedavarjaya. Om adite numanyaswadatu.
The sea gives, the sea takes away. The pact with Mother Ocean must be renewed continually. The village women have gathered on the beach for a cleansing ritual for the sea. They burn grain seeds, rice and maize. The sacrifice rises to the heavens on the smoke and is returned to the sea as rain. What comes from the earth must be returned to the earth. Later, they offer up mango leaves and flowers to the sea. They shall give Mother Ocean new strength. En route to the green heart of the island, Krish Hadawar runs Vertical World, a young company specializing in whitewater rafting, climbing, and rescue operations in the mountains. Today's itinerary includes canyoning, breakneck upsailing over a series of waterfalls called the 7 Cascades.
Wow.
It's magnificent.
You become one with it.
How far down is it?
40 meters.
Look at that.
Well, are you chicken or not? I wouldn't jump. Me neither.
It's very simple. Just how to connect each.
None of the adventure seekers from Europe has climbing experience, but they want more than just beaches. With Krish, they've booked an adrenaline rush.
Each time you must be connected to the life rope. Oh, if you want to fall down. Who's scared? Yeah. Okay.
No, it looks a bit... It looks high, really high. I was not expecting that high, but it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna breathe.
Then the descent begins. Renault is used to heights, but this feels a lot different than flying. 5 minutes of pure adrenaline before they touch down. Then they can relax and enjoy the payoff for their fear. Chris sees a great future for adventure holidays in Mauritius, provided that its nature remains intact.
It's not the Himalayas, of course, but you can get to the beach or the mountains in half an hour. So I think it has a lot of potential. If we do it in an intelligent way, without paving over everything, and don't touch our nature.
Then the descent begins for Renault. Fortunately, in Krish, he has a climbing partner who, for all his clowning around, he can trust with his life.
Okay.
The next morning, Renault and Nico Cooks leave Mauritius. They head for Coin de Mire, an island just off the coast. They have an appointment. Marine archaeologist Jan van Arnim is an expert on historical shipwrecks. But not only that, he is also affectionately known as the wreck maker because he sinks decommissioned ships off the coast. It's no environmental crime, quite the contrary. But it doesn't always go to plan.
We've had a few bad experiences with sinkings. We put too much explosives in the first boat and blew it to pieces. We had to sink another boat next to it to make the whole operation work.
Renault hasn't been diving in a long time, but he's heard that corals and schools of fish have settled on the Jabeda in 33 meters of water. He decides it's worth a look. They can't stay more than half an hour. The oxygen only lasts that long at these depths. The Jabeda is a decommissioned fishing vessel from Indonesia. Jan van Arnim makes regular dives to measure and document the growth of the corals. Underwater, the steel husks of ships quickly turn into artificial reefs, man-made biotopes that attract fish and divers in equal measure. It's the genesis of a new paradise, a new sweet pearl of the Indian Ocean. Underwater, Renault gets some extraordinary shots of the sunken ship and its new inhabitants. He even ventures into the ship itself. The Jabeda is just one of over 500 sunken ships in the waters around Mauritius. Pirates with stolen treasure, East India vessels carrying colonial goods, corsairs with the booty from English merchant ships, they all stopped here for provisions. Many underestimated the fury of the cyclones that visit the Mascarenes and landed on the ocean floor with their caravels, brigs, and corvettes. Many a tale of sunken treasure began on the craggy shores of the Mauritian coast. Renault ventures out over the water in search of the remnants of the Mauritius of old. In the days of the East Indies merchant ships, All shipping routes between east and west went through Mauritius. There was just a small opening in the coral reef through which larger ships could pass. A tiny passageway in the vast sea of blue. Anyone who wanted provisions had to thread the needle. Controlling entry to the Île de la Passe meant controlling the Indian Ocean. Flying over Île de la Passe calls for extreme caution. Crashing into the sea here would mean certain death. From the air, an old fortress is visible with its gunpowder depots, cannonball foundry, and storehouses. The fortress bears the stains of a bloody history. Slaves and French soldiers built the bulwark out in the sea. On the eve of the great naval battle of 1810, the English conquered the fort in furious hand-to-hand combat. Today, the island is abandoned. When Renault wants to take off, the wind is picked up. It doesn't make the start any easier.
If you don't have much space, like here on the sea, there's no room for error. You have to be sure you've got everything. Above all, it's a technically demanding situation, and I practice it often.
A bit later in the flight, it happens. Renault is flying in the mountains. He has radio contact with François.
How high are you? You seem to be very high.
I must be in a thermal because I've climbed 40 feet while idling.
I see you now. Behind you, there is some smoke from the sugarcane factory.
I flew through it down below. Now I'm heading for the Chamaral Falls, but there's still a bit of movement.
We're probably in an air pocket. It's incredibly calm here.
Are you joking?
You doing one last round?
Okay. There's a lot of thermal action here.
Watch out, it'll lift you.
Renault has already flown over the waterfall twice and is swooping in for a final flyover when he hits an air pocket. His parachute collapses.
Are you okay? I can't hear you. Okay, the radio's not working. Don't move or you'll fall down the ravine. Everything's broken.
I lost my shoe.
Okay, I've got you. Did you get hurt?
No, I think everything's okay. Maybe my foot a bit. I took off the parachute since everything was tangled up in the tree.
The propeller is fine, but the basket is in pieces.
I was in the air and did a roll, and more than half of the parachute collapsed. Then I went into a spin. I decided that instead of reversing the two twists, I would just fly a curve and graze the trees. You see those trees?
Is that where you were flying?
Yeah, I hit the two trees and landed in the bushes. It was the best way to slow down.
You did a good job. If you had crashed on that little path there, it would have been a lot worse.
That was pretty turbulent. But with my equipment and a bit of luck, I made it. The propeller was barely damaged. But that was a rather special kind of landing. This will be expensive.
Well, Christmas is coming.
it was more than just a bit of good luck. He emerged with just an injured toe. The paramotor is in rough shape. Renault has been flying powered paragliders for 15 years. There are few weather conditions, few landscapes in which he has not flown, but this was his first crash. He knows that he was too careless.
Sometimes you take some risks to get the pictures you have in mind. If you fly during the hot part of the day, turbulence can be an issue. If you have to concentrate on the equipment, the flying and the cameras all at once, you can sometimes forget about one thing or another, and that can be dangerous.
Saturday is race day at the Champ de Mars. On the last day of the season, there are 8 races on the program. The most important is the Duke of York Cup. Renault uses the downtime until his paramotor is repaired to visit the oldest racetrack in the Southern Hemisphere. Ever since the English introduced horse racing in Mauritius 200 years ago, the Champ de Mars has been the venue for grand social events in Mauritius. In colonial days, when the Queen visited, she was feted at the Mauritius Turf Club. Now, as then, anyone who wants to be someone has to be seen here. Renault has an appointment in the paddock with Sun Gujadur, head of one of the most successful racing stables in Mauritius.
Are you sure it doesn't bother you if I come along?
No problem. I just hope you're finished with me before the 6th race.
The 6th is the most important one.
As always, the trainers, grooms, and jockeys are confident of victory. Renault would like to know the secret of Sun's success.
What makes a good racehorse?
He must run faster than the others.
In the first race, Mob's Chief, an experienced horse, starts for the Gujadors. But the jockey is a novice. Trainer Sun's main concern is that horse and jockey return in one piece. Race days in the family's box are a must for all Gujadors. The third-generation Mauritian clan lives for horse racing. They've become an established part of Mauritian high society.
That's Madame Indira Gandhi, the former Prime Minister of India. That's my uncle, the stable manager. That's me. I was Uncle Mika's assistant in the 80s.
You haven't changed a bit.
When Sun's grandfather founded the stable, Indians were not welcome at the Mauritius Turf Club.
You mustn't forget, my great-grandfather came to Mauritius to work in the sugarcane fields. And then my grandfather wanted to go into business and establish contacts with the Franco-Mauritians. So he bought a horse that could race at the Mauritius Turf Club.
For all his experience, Mob's Chief begins losing ground shortly after the start and falls to 8th. In the camera dolly, Renault has little time for good photos. Mauritians are at least as fanatical punters as their former British colonial masters. While the well-to-do parade on the grandstand, down below the common folk may burn millions on any given race day. In the long run, only the betting shops win here. Rumors that certain bookies bribe jockeys to fix the races are persistent. The overwhelming favorite in the 4th race is Monsieur Dane from the Gujadur stable. He'll be ridden by the jockey Faucon, who, like all riders, has to weigh in before the race. If a jockey is too light, extra weights are placed in the saddle to ensure that all horses are carrying the same weight. In the family box, the excitement is palpable. Soon has instructed the jockey not to start too fast so that Monsieur Dane doesn't tire mid-race. In the event, Faucon pushes Monsieur Dane to the front from the get-go. That was not the plan. The Goujadours are indignant.
He's cheating! I can't believe it!
On the final straight, Monsieur Dane can't keep the pace, and Global Seal pulls ahead.
He didn't even ride. Go by. Keep cool. I think he tried very hard to regain the lead. Up to that point, he had it, but he just couldn't anymore.
He still came in second.
Sure, second. But for second place, you get nothing.
A few days after the race, jockey Faucon is suspended for one race and fined 600 euros by the racing authority for disregarding the trainer's instructions. Global Seal, by contrast, wins glory, honor, and 4,000 euros in prize money. Three days later, Renault is back in the air, surveying the cliché of a dream holiday on the sweet pearl of the Indian Ocean. Today it seems almost unimaginable, but until around 1950, there wasn't a single hotel in Mauritius. Things have changed. The marketing formula, sun, sand, and sea, attracts sun worshippers and water sport enthusiasts from all over the world. 1 million guests annually, mainly well-heeled tourists staying in one of over 100 resorts. In a way, Renault lives from it as well. When he's not off on some adventurous expedition to the remotest corners of the globe, he works as an aerial photographer for major hotel chains. No helicopter could fly so low. While he's photographing the world's luxury hotels, Renault also stays in them. He enjoys this part of his work especially.
I enjoy the variety. The fact that I can work for hotels like this allows me to be in another world, in a luxury world, a cocoon of exclusivity where everything is beautiful and serene. It's not real life, but I enjoy such places a lot.
Mauritius is not just a holiday paradise, but also a wedding paradise.
As a sign of my great love.
12,000 marriages of foreign guests are celebrated here annually. The same play is performed here every day, always with the same script. I do, until death do us part.
Thank you. Mrs. Mulan, my congratulations. Now you make it your bride.
A small but well-prepared army of registrars, translators, hotel managers, and photographers make the dream an unforgettable day.
Maybe have a kiss now.
Is it always easy to take these wedding pictures?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You have to keep them in the right mood. If it rains, for example, sometimes they're not sure if they want to get married anymore.
The wedding cake is part of the all-inclusive package for around 1,200 euros, as are the sparkling wine, flower arrangement, 2 witnesses, the registrar, and the bridal bouquet.
We like the idea of getting married on the beach with palm trees. It's something special, even if many people do it.
This is something we'll remember for many years to come.
The memories include 36 photographs on a CD. Hard work for the bridal couple.
Facha, facha. Facha, facha. Close. 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 Yeah. Okay. Now you make like this. Smile, cheese. Okay. Perfect. Very nice. Cheese, nice. Have a kiss now. Have a kiss. Kiss, kiss. All right. Kiss me up. Head to head. Dream now. Dream. Yes, dream. Korea. Yeah. Yeah. Super, super. No.
Vu comme ça, c'est un peu ridicule. Mais les photos
It looks a bit ridiculous and acrobatic when you watch it happening, but the pictures always turn out great. That's the amazing thing. People couldn't manage it on their own.
Les gens pourraient pas faire ça tout seuls, donc c'est bien, c'est bien.
As dusk approaches, the tasks get more complicated.
Back. All right, thank you.
And then it's over. The best day of their lives. In the twilight, Renault flies to Le Mans, a place which was once the scene of a tragic story. Runaway slaves were hiding atop the mountain. One day, a group of soldiers began the ascent to where the slaves were hiding. The slaves thought the soldiers were coming to recapture them and jumped to their deaths. In fact, the soldiers had come to announce the abolition of slavery. The national music of Mauritius is called Sega, the music of the slaves. It originated on sugar plantations in the 18th century as an emotional outlet for the suffering of the slaves. The undisputed star of the genre is the singer Michel Legris. Despite his 82 years, he's still young at heart. Michel's trademark is his hat made of sugarcane leaves, a reminder of his youth as a worker in the sugarcane fields. Michel and his hat could be the final piece in Renault's mosaic of Mauritius. Renault takes the bus to Rivière du Rempart, where Michel lives with his 8 children and countless grandchildren. Michel can neither read nor write. He learns his songs by heart and still builds the ravan, the drum that is the heartbeat of Sega himself. When he was 18, he won a music contest among the sugarcane workers. The first prize was a record contract. His song, Mon Capitaine, became a classic that even today is known by one and all. It changed his life. The single made him a star overnight, and the face of Sega the world over.
America, Scotland, France, England, Switzerland, Belgium, India, Ivory Coast.
How did it all begin?
How did Sega begin? A slave ran away, but they caught him and tied him up and called the other slaves and told them that Sega was about to start. We didn't know what Sega was, but they knew. A whipping. They tie you up and hit you on one side, so you move in the other direction. Then they hit you on the other side. That's how Sega began, with beating and suffering.
So that's how it all began.
Our true culture is Sega. For Mauritius, there is nothing else.
Michel brought Sega to the world, and he was never without his hat. As a worker in the cane fields, he earned 5 rupees a day and couldn't even afford a bicycle. Renault takes him back to where it all began.
What are you doing?
I'm just adjusting your clothes to get a good profile of you. Your beard is perfect. You look like you're dressed in sugarcane. Let's go. I'll have you stand over there.
Je t'amène.
Where?
Là,
Here.
entre les... Parce qu'avec ton chapeau, en fait,
With your hat, it looks like you're camouflaged.
Camouflé. Ah, il y en a une qui fait la rebelle.
One of them is rebelling.
Voilà.
One question. What kind of artist comes from so far away to take something like this home with them?
Qui est l'artiste là? C'est pas
Who's
moi.
the artist? It's not me, it's you.
Tiens, enlève tes lunettes.
Take your glasses off. We'll do it without them.
In the end, Michel improvises a song about crazy Renault.
Depuis petit, mon maman t'avoue moi l'école. L'amour entre l'école, mais d'école, mets-moi folie. Aucun camarade t'appelle Renault. Oh la hé la la, oh la hé la la, oh la hé la 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 lé. Oh la hé la la, oh la lé la la, oh la hé la la lé. Renault c'est un élève de la classe et des bilots. Un roman Jésus ça c'est, sans qu'il plairait comme un boum.
Oh la hé la la, oh la hé la la, oh la hé la 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 loé.
Although his portrait of Mauritius for the photo book is now complete, Renault knows that he will return again and again.